Hello everyone, it is Christine here and I am back for my daily videos in the lead up to Christmas, and we'll be first of all taking and having a look at one of the buttons out of my Nana's vintage buttons which I created into this advent calendar, and then we'll move on to have a look at another piece of stitchery that I created in a past year for Christmas, and hopefully that might give you some ideas for Christmas stitchery you might like to do. So first up, we are up to number 20. My goodness, my goodness. And we have, this is a very, very old button. I think it's a cast plastic, but at one point I did actually think it was carved, but it feels like a plastic. It's very worn. That's what made me originally think it's carved. It almost sort of looks like, but I think it's actually sort of cracking and a little bit of warping that's happened on the button over time, but it looks very, quite rustic. But I'm wondering if it was cast. I suppose they could still do it. It's got very smooth edges on the interior, which is interesting. But yeah, very interesting button. So good place to keep it in here and enjoy it each year as part of the advent calendar. So I'll move this off to the side. And thanks for all your lovely comments on yesterday's snowman stitchery, and for commiserating with me about my misadventures with Sundays that become Mondays. I'll just take you up a tiny bit higher so you can hopefully see the... I'll still need to drag it down a bit so you can see the full scene, but then I'll take you down, I think, and we'll have a closer look at this piece. So close your eyes if you don't like being adjusted downwards. Okay, so this is a little piece I made when we had a prompt. I think it was of fox, and there's also a second fox in this little scene here. So I used, I think, like an old pillowcase or something as my base. And then to that I added this lovely fabric, which I think came from an IKEA kids quilt and pillowcase set that I got on sort of clearance, and it has the most beautiful woodland scene on it. And what I then did was just hundreds and hundreds of tiny seed stitches all around the design element, so all around the animals and around the trees. There's a cute little squirrel here, beautiful little deer up there. And so on this side I did more intense style of seed stitch, almost as though there was a bit of a blizzard over here, and then it was a little bit more just gentle falling snow on this other side. So yeah, just lots and lots of seed stitches, and it gives you just the most lovely feel to your fabric. It makes your two bits, your back and your front, really cohesive, and it does this lovely pulling in of the fabric, so it gives it texture. Really makes it really, really tactile. So if you haven't played with seed stitching around elements, definitely give it a go. You can start on a smaller scale. This obviously took a really long time, but yeah, very happy with the effect. I love the little owl peeking out over here, and there's another little deer peeking up down here. So then for the border I used various furnishing fabrics that would have just come from like those furnishing books you can get with the furnishing samples. I always keep an eye out for those if I see them around. And then a corner piece from a doily. In fact, I think I'm still cutting into and using pieces from this one. A little scrap, which you might think, oh, that's not going to be used for anything, but always keep those little scraps because you never know when. Sorry, you can't actually see the scrap that I was pointing to, like this little scrap down here. And I put a little SS French laundry label on that to signify Secret Santa, because my little, my big fox down here was kind of popping out of the presents. That was the whole concept of these boxes down the bottom. So yeah, we've got our little Secret Santa, some more furnishing fabrics, another bit of doily. Some more furnishing fabric down the side, some more little scraps just of lace. Again, you don't need a lot. Another lovely bit of lace down here. Another piece of, in fact, I've used this fabric just recently in my Roxy Journal of Stitchery piece. I obviously love it because I find ways to incorporate it, and this was just a border piece from that fabric. And then some more beautiful little lacy snippets, another bit of doily over here. And then for my boxes, I used some of my Nana's old fabrics. And you might have seen me the other day actually when we were putting together the tag envelope felt. I was contemplating putting a bit of this fabric on. So as you can see, I come back to the same Christmas fabrics because they have that nostalgic value of having come from my Nana. So this fox motif actually came off a pair of dog's pajamas. Can you believe there is such a thing? So I'd bought Travis a pair of dog's pajamas, but he's not really into wearing pajamas, and so anytime I'd put it on him, he'd try and take them off himself with his teeth. So in the end I thought, no, these dog's pajamas probably aren't going to work, and also Travis got much bigger than the size that I'd originally bought. So I decided to cut out the cute little fox that sat on the, I think it sat on the sort of the bottom of the pajamas, which was kind of cute. And I added it to this piece with my little fox jumping out of the box. And so I kind of left the top edge of the fabric here frayed, as though the wrapping paper had been torn as the fox stuck his head through. I better be careful how I say words. And then I used a similar thing just the other day. I'd totally forgotten that I'd done it on this piece, but yeah, used the French laundry labels, but spelling out ho ho ho, as though the fox is saying that as he pops his head out. And then those of you that watch know that I love to make secret pockets, and even when I made this piece I was enjoying making secret pockets, and so I created a little pull out section. And again, this was on a furnishing fabric. I think I backed it on. Oh, it actually already had some card on it. You can even see a little bit of the writing left over. And I wrote a funny little story from my childhood, which is, Mum asked, would you like to hang your stocking on the end of your bed? And then little Chrissy, and I was called Chrissy rather than Christine when I was growing up, little Chrissy replied, I don't want some strange old man coming into my bedroom. So I think the whole stranger danger education we'd had at school, I think that had kind of stuck in my mind, and I thought, no, not appropriate for a strange old man with a beard to be coming into children's rooms at night. So that was funny. So I figured that was a great little anecdote to capture in this piece. And then just use some little trimmy pieces on the hash and as the little pom-poms. Some felt's always great because you don't need to worry about raw edges. With the presents, apart from this edge which I left raw, the rest of the edges are turned under. And in fact there's another pocket space that actually goes all the way through from here to this side. But this little bit of trim just sits nicely. It doesn't fall in because it's got a bit more height on it than the actual under bit of fabric. So yeah, I think that's all I need to show you. Obviously, when you do seed stitching, there is a lot of stitching that you do. But as I say, it just makes the pieces so lovely and cohesive. And yeah, never throw out your little scraps of things, because you just never know when you're going to want to use a tiny little piece. If anything, they're the most valuable things, because you can just immediately grab them and add them to your piece. You don't have to worry about cutting into something bigger that you might not want to cut into. So I'll keep it nice and short. Alex has got to do a night job tonight, so he'll be heading off to bed soon. So I will need to try and keep my voice down and not be yabbering on in videos, and I'll let you get back to your Christmas preparations, because I know it's a busy time. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, coming towards the end of the year, it's always a bit busy, isn't it? So I do hope you're taking good care of yourselves, and I will chat to you tomorrow. Thanks everyone. Bye.